The guys at Fox and Friends, Brian Kilmeade and Steve Doocy, they act like such clowns to begin with. But there was a story in the New York Times about how Fox's ratings have gone down a little bit, 1%. They still lead, by the way, and the story points that out. But MSNBC ratings have gone up 89%, which is huge. CNN ratings have also gone up, and Fox has gone down a little bit, though they retain the lead. And Fox has decided that this is a hit piece and that they're going to strike back. Now, this segment in and of itself is absurd, but take a look at the pictures of the editor and the reporter that they put up there. They photoshopped the pictures. After you see this piece, we're going to show you the real pictures and the Photoshop pictures. Here you go.
Hey, before we go today, something's been bugging me.
We'll go back outside.
We will. A couple of days ago, when most newspapers in America were doing these positive stories about how Fox News Channel, once again, #1.
Like the LA Times.
For many, many years. There was a hit piece by somebody in the New York Times. The writer was a fellow by the name of Jacques Steinberg, and he's been doing a bunch of attack stories on Fox News Channel. Well, there's some backstory to it, and that is this. His boss, the guy who assigned him to this, is a fellow by the name of Stephen Redcliffe. And Mr. Redcliffe actually used to work for this company. He worked, I think he was the editor in charge of TV Guide until circulation went down under his tenure, something like 40%. He got fired, and according to Radar Online, this guy has had an axe to grind.
Yeah, he does, because I think, Steve, according to reports, according to Radar and another online magazine, he was making close to $1 million here. And now, with his new job, he's making significantly less. How about a tenth of that?
So anyway, Radar says he's had an axe to grind, and that's why he sends his attack dog, Jacques Steinberg, out, that fellow right there, the writer for the New York Times, to do these hit pieces. So he essentially is his attack dog, his poodle, if you will.
So Radar Online has unlocked the mystery. And there you go, because that story was oddly in the arts section of New York Times and the Sunday Times.
Anyway, we just thought cute. Wonder if he's going to show him at Westminster.
I'm not really sure, but we know what Beagle won last year, and he's dressed as a poodle.
I don't know if they know that Media Matters is recording them at all times, let alone Crooks and Lighters, let alone almost everyone else, let alone news hounds, right? All right, so look, first, as always, every time I'm amused by Steve Doocy's voice. That's huge! It's this weird whiny voice, and let me tell you something else. All right, but that's minor. Let's get to the heart of it, right? So they decided to do a hatchet job on this thing. They keep quoting Radar. Radar actually links to another blog that had this thing. They, of course, want to call this a disgruntled former employee, but this is a full frontal assault on these guys, right? And they asked the New York Times editor about it. The Times cultural editor, Sam Sifton, says this is beneath contempt, and that they are not going to respond to it, because if you get in a fight with a pig, everybody winds up dirty and the pig enjoys it. And so they say they're not going to fire back. So now all of this is funny enough in and of itself, but wait till you get a load of the Photoshop pictures. And you saw it right there in the piece. They didn't say they were Photoshopped. They just ran them as if they were the real pictures of the reporter and the editor. We got the reporter first. Here, Jacques Steinberg. Come on, dude. How do you doctor the picture like that and then just run it without mentioning it? Now, if they'd said, hey, listen, we doctored the pictures just to have a little fun with it, then I got no problems. Then it's, tongue-in-cheek. But look, they extended his ears out. They darkened his eyes. They widened his chin and his nose, as you can tell. They gave him a mysterious, longer head. But the darkened eyes is what amused me the most. And they made his teeth yellow, just to make him look a little more ominous and, ugly. All right, now let's take a look at the editor. Here's Stephen Redcliffe. Looks like a perfectly normal guy, his real picture. And in the Fox picture, his head is longer again, this because it's flattened because of Photoshop. His hair goes back further, his hairline does. Again, the yellow teeth and the dark, dark eyes. How did they do this stuff for real? I mean, they just ran it. They didn't say it was a joke. If it's a joke, I'm going to let the whole thing go, right? And I didn't mind the picture where they put him as the poodle and stuff. Look, Fox has given up any pretense of being a news organization. They're doing talk shows, and this is a talk show, and it's biased, and it's slanted in favor of Republicans, and They do little things like that, and I got no problem with that. There's a place for that in America. When they pretend to be fair and balanced in news, that's when I laugh and laugh and laugh. But to run this without even telling people it's Photoshopped, come on.